for a long time, Uganda has had an unfavorable balance of payment position. And this is because as a country, we've been importing a lot more than we are exporting. Now today, there is a deliberate move and drive to see that the country is able to export a lot more than it imports. Now, some of the areas, or what someone would call the low-hanging fruits, sit within the agricultural subsector and then, of course, the mineral subsector. As it is today, Uganda's top export is gold. Now, this is followed by coffee, and a couple of other items follow, like cocoa, cereals, among others. Now, the problem with the number of Ugandans who participate in this particular space is lack of information and knowledge on how to go about it. Now, in this segment, we are speaking to different parties, and we are dedicating this particular show to showing you how you can participate in the export trade. Welcome to Man and Markets. I'm Charles Ford, your host. Now, for a long time, many business development service consultants and partners have been putting a lot of emphasis on building entrepreneurs, just entrepreneurship, and mainly looking at what can be done domestically. Now, today that is shifting. We're seeing players like Enterprise Uganda now trying to help business people participate in the export trade. In this segment, we pick the mind of one of the promoters, one of the BDS consultants with Enterprise Uganda, to understand why the shift and why is it important at this particular moment in time.
Really, today we have had a trade facilitation workshop in partnership with the US Embassy. We had the honor of hosting a trade expert, Miss Esther Sarakis, and really what she was here to tell us and to share with the entrepreneurs is how to start and how to keep on this journey of exporting, but also keep on this journey of doing business with the US. Some of the entrepreneurs have inputs from the US. How can you be able to do that? So in partnership with the US Embassy, that's what we have been doing here. The message really at the heart of this is aligned to government's priority right now, which is the tenfold growth strategy, and a focus on specific sectors like the agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, science, technology, what some people call the ATMs. Really, that idea of strengthening the entrepreneurs to be able to go out to the export market is a big idea. Now, we know that export is really a long journey. We had a team from UNBS today, and they painted that picture quite clearly, that it is a long journey. It needs, first of all, the appreciation of standards. From the basics, really, do you have some kind of guidelines you follow in your businesses? Do you have some best practices in your production process? That is something which is still a challenge in Uganda's entrepreneurial sector. And we believe that what we are going to do together with a number of partners is to see how to support the entrepreneurs on that specific journey. One of the key things is that for an entrepreneur to really start the export journey, there are a number of stakeholders who need, and they need to deal with a couple of internal factors, a couple of external factors. Today we saw the importance of something like standards, and that makes the Uganda National Bureau of Standards a very key partner. Some people are saying there are some ways to export in a more efficient way. That means the Uganda Free Zones and Export Promotions Authority will be able to support on that. We believe that there are also spaces like testing. There are labs which you can be able to do to test some of the products which are there. But really at the heart of it is really this cocktail of business development services that can be able to support an entrepreneur to walk that journey. And this cocktail will include the soft and the hard. Really, how do I prepare myself as an entrepreneur in terms of governance, in terms of the HR, in terms of how I work on financing. I need a letter of credit for me to be able to be trusted by my partner in the other country. All those are key ideas. And then which kind of investors do you attract? Because sometimes the best way to export is really to attract an investor who comes and gives you both the financial support but also the technical support to be able to get into the export market. All those are pieces which we hope we can be able to work together on.
Now, still talking about exports, one of the main hurdles that many business people who want to play in this space face is failure to meet the requisite standards. Now, we're trying to share with you in this particular segment what you need to know, what standards you need to follow before you can even think about entertaining an idea of playing in the export market space.
There are a few things that you must be able to take care of and ensure that you break into the export market. Can I say some of them? One of them is quality. You gave me pineapple last time, it was this average size. The next one is looking like a mango. Then later it's looking like some watermelon. What is this? Consistency of quality. 2, you got the consistency right. How about regularity of volumes? 3, how about the basics of appearance, the packaging? Those issues, they determine your entry into that marketplace. Once you have entered the marketplace, then we now say, okay, quality, volumes look to be okay, consistency to be okay. The next thing is, to what extent have you managed your cost structure so that even in terms of value for money, you still can compete? It's already difficult to look at the other aspects I've just mentioned. Again, you are being brought to the basic final question, that to what extent are you managing, 1, your macroeconomic costs associated with poor infrastructure, with the type of financing that you have, with the type of labor that you have. To what extent are you managing that? Then we draw into the next point of determination, your own internal capabilities as an entrepreneur.
There is a lot of issues to do with traceability. A consumer in the US wants to see, can you trace back this product from where it is back to the supplier? Kenya mentioned something very important. All the matoke is grown by them. We have a lot of disintegrated chains. You have a pack house and you're sourcing the matoke from Nakaseke, 20 farmers whose practices you don't have control over. You don't know what pesticides they are applying and you're aggregating them. You get, the next time you hear there is an interception in the US, you have pesticides. He has control over everything that happens in the farm for the matoke. You understand? So this certification does not come that it is given to you. Certification is a third-party attestation that the practices you have at your farm conform to the requirements of the FDA standard. You get, and that certificate is issued to you. So a lot goes in, and this is a culture that has to be built in the facility or in the organization, however small it is. I will not come and just issue a certificate. The product in the market will eventually tell that that certificate was bought. Establish the system and put it there. Is there traceability from the farm to where I get my product? If there is a recall, can I trace back my products? How is the labeling done? Do I have allergens? You get, these economies are sensitive in that if somebody is allergic to soybean, okay, and in your facility you're handling, let's say matoke, you have some soya somewhere, you must declare. Those are components that we look at. You find an auditor tells you, please align the label. You go to China and order billions of labels, non-conforming without consultation. You get here with all your cargoes and they tell you the labels are not conforming. So my advice to you would be, please first seek the knowledge. What does the market require? What are the labeling requirements in the US? Then consult someone to support you. Align that label to the requirements, okay? Before you go and order and inject a lot of money in these labels. Are we together? You find somebody has printed loads of such stickers and the labels are non-conforming. That is money already wasted.
You're going to make mistakes. It goes with the territory. Try to keep it small. Then I would say, and you've got the free trade agreement here with Africa, start exporting to your neighbors. Do that first. Get your feet wet. See what it's like to export. Understand how to do the documents. It's one thing to do the documents wrong or have a question on a few pallets going out versus a whole container load across the country and any fines on it. So you do that first. And then maybe what you do next after that is, depending on what your product is, there may be some markets that make even more sense for you to first venture out to. Maybe it is going to North Africa, selling something into Tunisia, Morocco. Maybe it's the Middle East, because that's pretty close to here. So transit time, shipping costs are more manageable. And then once you've really done that, and also I want you to also think about this now with the new dynamic of developing an investor partnership relationship. You know what you're doing. You've had trial under fire by getting your products exported. Now you're ready for the big boys and the big girls to start looking at further afield markets such as Europe and the United States, because you know what it takes to get it done. And only then would I really say you should be looking more so at those markets. Now you may have something really unique, and you may have something that, for example, is not produced at all in the United States, or very little produced in the United States, or maybe now because of the tariffs, there's an opportunity because your product is more cost effective because the tariffs maybe from another country are higher. So you may want to leapfrog. That may be an opportunity to leapfrog ahead, but normally I'm saying to work in concentric circles and learn through that whole process till you're getting to the United States.